What makes a small prayer bring such peace, such strength, such hope? It is a question that many of us carry, often without realizing it. Because if we are honest, sometimes we wonder, does God really hear me when all I can whisper is a single word? Can such a fragile offering, spoken through tired lips or a weary heart, actually reach the heavens? The truth is found in Matthew 17:20, where Jesus says, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." Notice what he points to, not the size of your prayer, not the eloquence of your words, but the faith behind them. Even a mustard seed, the smallest of seeds, carries the potential to move mountains when placed in the hands of God. Think of the countless nights you've lain awake, burdened by worries too heavy to speak aloud. You may not have had the strength to pray long prayers filled with perfect sentences. Perhaps all you managed was a breath, a whisper, a name, Jesus. And yet, somehow, that small prayer lifted something from your chest. Somehow, you felt just enough strength to make it through. That is the miracle of prayer. It is not about the size of the words, but the size of the one who listens. A child who cries, "Help," doesn't need to explain their situation in detail. The parent runs at the sound. In the same way, when you whisper to God, he bends close, ready to comfort, ready to act. So tonight, when you wonder if your small prayer matters, remember this: it is not the prayer itself that holds the power, but the God who receives it. And in his hands, even the smallest prayer can bring rest to a restless soul, hope to a weary heart, and peace to a troubled night. There are nights when silence feels too heavy to bear. You lie awake, the room still, but your mind restless. Thoughts circle endlessly, the mistakes you made today, the unknowns of tomorrow, the fears you cannot put into words. In those moments, you may feel too tired to pray, too weary to even begin. Yet here is the beautiful truth: even the faintest whisper, barely formed on your lips, can reach the throne of heaven. Psalm 34:17 reminds us, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles." It does not say the righteous must cry out loudly, with perfect phrases, or with polished faith. It simply says, they cry out, and the Lord hears. That means even your trembling whisper carries weight in God's presence. Think of the story of Hannah in 1 Samuel 1. She was so overcome with grief that her lips moved in silent prayer, but no sound came out. To those around her, she seemed confused, even drunk. But to God, her heart was louder than any words. He heard her. He answered her. He blessed her with a child she had longed for. This is the nature of God. He is not measuring the volume of your prayer, but the posture of your heart. When you whisper, "Lord, help me," It is enough. When you breathe, Jesus, I trust you. Even if your emotions haven't caught up yet, he still listens. He does not need paragraphs to understand you. He already knows what weighs on your soul. Your whisper is simply your way of opening the door and letting him in. Sometimes the strongest prayer is the simplest, be with me. Because what you really need in the sleepless night is not all the answers at once, but his presence. His nearness is the remedy for fear. His spirit is the one who calms the storm inside you, even before the storm outside has changed. So, the next time worry keeps you awake, do not pressure yourself to pray long or complicated prayers. Just whisper his name. That whisper carries through the silence, pierces the darkness, and reaches heaven itself. And God, who neither slumbers nor sleeps, bends low to hear his child. Life often feels like a sea that refuses to rest. The winds of stress howl through our days. The waves of uncertainty rise higher than our strength, and the horizon sometimes disappears in the fog of fear. In those moments, we long for something strong enough to steady us. And yet, what often steadies the soul is not a grand display of power, but the quiet strength found in a small, honest prayer. Think of the storms that rage within you at night. Your body lies still, but your heart races. You replay conversations. You worry about what tomorrow may bring. You wrestle with the weight of expectations. The storm is not outside, it is inside. And in the middle of that storm, a small prayer becomes like a single candle, flickering in the darkness. It doesn't erase the night, but it breaks it. It offers light enough for one more step, comfort enough to breathe again. A small prayer carries the strength of surrender. You don't need to map out the solution or fix what is broken in one sitting. You only need to say, Lord, I cannot do this alone. Those few words have the power to shift the weight from your shoulders to his. That's the secret hidden in small prayers. They remind you that you are not abandoned in the storm. And when you let go, even slightly, peace begins to seep in. It is not always sudden. It may feel like drops of rain slowly calming the waves. But as you release your worries in prayer, your heart finds rhythm again. Fear loosens its grip. Anxiety no longer drives every thought. You begin to notice the quiet voice of peace whispering that you are safe, that you are held. Sometimes, we think storms demand big, solutions hours of prayer, eloquent words, or visible miracles. But storms often bow to something simpler, trust. And trust is born in those small prayers, repeated over and over, like anchors dropped in deep water. One prayer, one whisper, one surrender at a time, you find yourself steadied. So when the storm rises within you, don't wait until you feel strong enough to offer God more. Begin with what you have. Even if all you can say is, help, even if all you can breathe is his name. That is enough. The storm may not disappear at once, but the peace inside you will grow stronger than the storm outside you. And in time, the waves will quiet, and you will know even the smallest prayer has power to calm the fiercest seas. There is something almost invisible about a whisper. It doesn't roar like thunder. It doesn't demand attention like a shout. A whisper is soft, fragile, easily overlooked. And yet, when spoken with faith, even the smallest whisper to heaven carries a weight that no storm can crush. Many of us imagine prayer as something that must be loud or long to be effective. We think we need the right words, the right rhythm, or the right passion to reach God. But the truth is far simpler. What gives a prayer its power is not the volume, it's the heart behind it. A whispered prayer spoken in honesty can hold more weight than 1,000 words spoken without faith. Think about the quiet moments when you whisper into the dark. You might be too tired to speak at length, too weary to find the words. And so you whisper, "Lord, stay with me tonight." That single line carries your heart, your need, your longing. And in heaven's eyes, it is not small at all. It is as weighty as an offering laid on the altar. The secret of a whispered prayer is that it bypasses performance. It is not about impressing anyone, even yourself. It is raw, unpolished, sometimes just a sigh. But heaven recognizes it. Heaven leans in closer when you whisper, because it knows that whispers are often born from sincerity. When you cannot shout, you whisper. When you cannot stand, you kneel. And when you cannot speak much, you say only what matters. And that is the beauty of it. God does not measure prayer by length or by strength. He measures by depth. He sees the hidden weight behind your whisper, the part of you that has chosen trust instead of silence. He knows that in those moments, you are letting go of self-sufficiency and leaning into Him. Whispered prayers often become the strongest because they are carried by surrender. They are not shouted into the air, hoping someone might hear. They are breathed into the silence, knowing someone already listens. And once you realize that, your heart begins to settle. The fear that once pressed so heavily on your chest begins to lighten, because you are no longer carrying it alone. So tonight, if you feel small, if you feel weak, if your voice is barely a whisper, don't despise it. Let it rise. Let your whisper carry the weight of your soul. Because what seems small to you shakes heaven in ways you cannot imagine. And with every whispered prayer, peace takes root, deeper and stronger, until you realize that your whisper was never small, it was always powerful. There are moments when even a whisper feels too heavy. Times when your heart aches, your mind spins, and you simply don't know what to say. You sit in the stillness, aware of your need, yet unable to form the